All right, I'm right back at you. Week 3, official lines and predictions. Moved it out to a different room in my house. Still don't have furniture, but got plenty of rooms. Today, sunroom. Give you a little tour of the sunroom. Tour of the sunroom. All right, that's about it. You've seen enough of my sunroom. Let me get right back to week 3, official lines and predictions. First of all, let me just say this week has been quiet. It's been pretty embarrassing. I mean, frankly, Rod disappeared. I killed him. He talked a lot of trash. I absolutely killed him, and he disappeared. But whatever, it's been quiet. It'll be quiet again next week after I stick a foot up in Wags. Let's just get right to the games. First game, Norfolk -2 with Henderson. Basically, I see this game as just being ugly, and Norfolk wins ugly games. So I expect Norfolk to win the game. But this will be a low scoring, this will be paint drying type of atmosphere. Norfolk comes into it with a great philosophy of routing Cleveland's offense. What offense? And Henderson comes into it riding on the shoulders of McNabb, who is essentially just playing with just him and Westbrook. And going against the black and gold this week, I'm not feeling it. I'm going to take Norfolk in a close game. Second game, Imperial at New York. New York, a 7-point favorite in the game. You know what? Imperial has great matchups this week. Lots of good things. I think Ben Roethlisberger can have a big day against Philadelphia. I think Thomas Jones and I even think freaking White can do something out there. So I like the matchups. I like Greg Jennings against that Cowboy secondary, although sometimes an embarrassed team comes out and plays strong. So I would imagine they're not going to give him exactly what they gave to the Eagles last week, but still think he'd have a good game. But New York, it's New York. Look at the team. Tom Brady gets hurt, slapping, the backup guy who we drafted in the 8th round. What does he do but finish as the #1 rated fantasy player after 2 weeks? I just think New York just has too much talent. It's all over the place. Randy Moss is going to absolutely torture the Miami Dolphins. Terrell Owens is going to torture Green Bay. I just think it's going to happen. I think the Baltimore defense is really going to have a big game against Cleveland. So I like New York. I'm going to give the points and take the clients in that one. Next game, Pittsburgh at Albany. Pittsburgh at Albany. -10 for Pittsburgh. This is somewhat of an interesting game, only because Albany is really, really bad, and Pittsburgh's a lot better than we think. Basically, I just don't think the game is going to be close. I think Albany has players for the future. I like some of their young guys. I like Lynch. I like Johnson. But seriously, Grant and Harrison, it's about time that Harrison packs it up. And Grant is just, I just have never seen a guy who is in such bad shape physically trying to start football teams. I have no idea what they're trying to do with the Green Bay unless they're just trying to blow his legs out altogether. So I got to go with Pittsburgh in this game in a pretty easy win. Sewickley at Honolulu. This is a big game. Honolulu is 0-2, but has a really, really strong roster. Take a look at Honolulu's roster and you'll be surprised. He really has players all over the place. He essentially took LT and Maroney, put them on the bench, came right back with 2 starting running backs that are rated 4 and 14 overall. So you gotta love Honolulu, what he's done. So Wickley, the Brandon Marshall, that could be the steal of the draft. He left him exposed as a non-keeper, came back and picked him up in the first round. And how can you knock a guy who had 18 catches last week? So I think Brandon Marshall is a future stud, and if Wickley could ever get anything out of Steven Jackson or Larry Johnson, you have to check with WAG sources, but whatever it is that you got on LJ, please call it off just for Sewickley's sake. I think Honolulu needs the game worse. I think, frankly, Sewickley could lose a couple more games and still win the Central. The Central's pretty bad. Honolulu can't fall back too far in the West and expect to make the playoffs. So I'm going to go with Ivan here. Aliquippa at Tokyo. I didn't even bother doing a write-up on this. Aliquippa -4. Tokyo is just a bad team. Just a really bad team. Carson Palmer is bad. Most of the players he has in the starting lineup are pretty bad. Aliquippa is a horribly boring team. It's just, that's just going to be a miserable game to watch. I'll take Aliquippa and I'll get the points. And then finally, the game of the week, Jersey at Mount Lebanon. Jersey is the it pick of the year. I've been riding Jersey. I've been talking about what they're going to do and, Are they going to do well this year? They got great running backs. They got all this stuff. But, I just don't like Jersey in this game. I think Mount Lebanon has the upper hand. I think they got the better players. I think Bob is finally going to get out of his own way and do something there. So I'm going to have to go with Mount Lebanon, and that's it this week. Next week I have to pick a new room in the house to take you guys to. But for that's it for now. See you guys later. Bye.